Massive win for United, down to 10 men for the last 20 minutes, but they hang on to go third in the league. And Wolverhampton Wanderers absolutely smash and destroy Liverpool at Molineux in a devastating day for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool as they drop to 10th stay 10th in the league on 29 points, as you can see. A disastrous day for them as a football club. A happy one for Man United, because it was getting a little bit sticky after the 10 men. There's some bits of substitution changed it, and we're going to jump into all of that on the football terrace for you right now. We want to take your views, you want to take your opinions as well. And there's a lot of controversy around the red card. Of course, rivals say 100%. He definitely grabbed him around the throat. I'm seeing a lot of United fans say it was a little bit harsh, maybe. I want to get everybody's views, and I want to get people's opinions on it. Did Casemiro deserve 110% to receive a red card? I want to hear from you. Of course, we're talking Liverpool as well. Another day to forget, another day to ponder the future of Jurgen Klopp. Another day where, I mean, again, you're playing a relegation team in the relegation zone today who were second bottom of the table when the game kicked off. And they didn't just beat you. They absolutely destroyed you. They ripped Liverpool limb from limb. Limb from limb. Limb from limb. And for me, Jurgen Klopp is 110% culpable. The players are burnt out. The players don't want to play for him. He bought attackers when he needed midfield players. He's too loyal to certain individuals that need to be moved on. His system doesn't work anymore. His system has stopped working. I've been calling it out for a year now. The line is too high. The line is too high. And he doesn't want to change it. We're going to be delving into both videos, both games, and the stories surrounding both. Please make sure like buttons are being hit. Please make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. Very important that you do that for us. We really need your support. Whether your team won today, whether a rival got a point that you didn't want them to, like the Terrace. We're not, don't be too, what's the word I'm looking for? Tribal when it comes to that. You're a part of the Terrace community, so support it. Starting with Man United, though, I think there's only one place to start when it comes to this game, and was it a red card? We look at the situation here. You can see the picture at the top definitely shows you that the hands are around. It looks like the hands are around the neck. But then you look at it from the other angle here, from Casemiro's, from behind, which it didn't show on VAR. You can clearly see that's the shoulder. That is this part of the body here. So he's kind of got him here. He's not holding him around the neck. For me, Casemiro's stupid. Casemiro doesn't need to do this. But if you actually watched it in real time, Casemiro is not overly aggressive with him. He isn't in his face. He's not snarling. When the player kind of pushes his arm off, he then tries to grab his shirt. He's just trying to keep the player away from doing something stupid. I think this is a scenario where this behind-the-scenes view shows you that it's around the side of his shoulder and neck. Of course, the TV view that the referee looks at looks like it's his throat. Now, have you ever seen that famous picture of Prince William where it looks like he's got a middle finger up at somebody, but when you see it from the other angle, he's saying like four, like this? This is the same thing. But what I will say is that Casemiro is stupid. Casemiro has put himself in a position to receive that red card. Now, Man United will probably appeal it. As long as there's not a risk of it becoming 4 games, Man United will probably appeal it. They'll show different camera angles to say he's got him on the shoulder. He wasn't squeezing the neck. At no point did, I forget the name of the player that he grabbed now. I want to make sure I get his name right. I do know who he is. I just feel Hughes. At no point was Hughes holding his throat saying he hurt me. I just think this was silly. I think he didn't need to do it. At the same time, was Casemiro trying to throttle him? Was Casemiro trying to hurt him? Did he commit violent conduct? I'm not 100% sure. However, he put himself in a position to receive that red card. And when you put yourself into that position, we know what happens when it comes to referees. I've seen players grab around the throat and not get red cards. remember once seeing Jack Wilshere headbutt Fellaini in front of the referee and nothing happened. So I've seen similar situations before. But as I say, United fans have got to take the red card on the chin. Casemiro has grabbed him in an area. He raised his hands. But then I just want to see consistency from this point. I just want to see other players given straight reds. If they've got hands anywhere near, anywhere above the chest level now, it's going to have to happen. But that put a lot of pressure on Man United, who were very comfortable in this game. And let's not take away from two top performers again today for United. Bruno Fernandes with the penalty and a captain's performance. Another stellar display from him. And of course, Marcus, I'm the most informed attacker in the world, Rashford, Sir Marcus Rashford, with another winner now. We didn't know it was the winning goal when he scored it, but another match winner for Marcus Rashford. And he goes central when he gets poachers goals, identical almost to the City winner. He plays on the wing and he's scoring screamers. He's creating his own goals. He's scoring those goals at the far post, match winners, clutch moments. The levels of Marcus Rashford right now are unprecedented. Unprecedented at United. We actually haven't had a player. If you look at since the return of the World Cup, the goal scoring record he's got, Ronaldo kind of did some similar stuff. We're talking in terms of a streak, one of the best streaks of form in Man United history. It equaled Dennis Violet's record, almost surpassed Van Nistelrooy's record, and he keeps doing it. And the performances from him are there as well. So very, very impressed with him. And United, by the way, deserved, even when we went down to 10 men, they had a couple of decent efforts. They scored from one of them. It was a bit of a scrappy goal, but then United took control. And I thought Sabitzer came on. And by the way, he won the ball right at the end and put Rashford through. Rashford was going to go through and score. It would have been him and Bruno. He'd have laid it off. Bruno would have put it away. Can't believe that was given as a foul. But Sabitzer came on and simply made that substitution. And I think the one thing I'd criticize the manager for, it took him 6 or 7 minutes. No, it didn't. Sorry. It took him 11 minutes to bring on Sabitzer. He should have made that substitution a lot earlier. I think if Sabitzer comes on within minutes, we don't concede. He come on and he really shored up that midfield. He really gave Man United some great stability in that area. But I don't want to go too far away from United's overall performance. We weren't scintillating in the second half, but we were brilliant in the first. But we're still just lacking that clinical edge. And if it isn't Rashford or Bruno scoring at the moment, nobody else is doing it. A little bit of Fred on the side. I wanted more from Weghorst. I thought he had a poor game today. But when young Garnacho came on, he was great. It was just a shame that he had to be dragged off late in the match because we needed to bring defensive reinforcements onto the field. But his inclusion, the Ten Hag ball for the goal. Rashford's goal was a great team goal. Great to see him score a poacher's goal. And I do think that Garnacho was massively influential in that happening. He really, really was. So far today, none of the Liverpool fans on the terrace have turned up. I don't know where they are. Don't know where they are right now. Oh, hang on a minute. I think I put it into the wrong group chat. No, I didn't. It's in the right group chat. It's in the right group chat. Where are my mans at? Where are my mans at? We're going to be getting onto that a little bit later in the day when it comes to Liverpool. So stay with us, Liverpool fans. We're talking both games today. But listen, I'm a proud United fan today. Going third in the league, Newcastle kicking off in 20 minutes. From my point of view, it's very much a case of the pressure's on them. What happens in these 3 games now without Casemiro? It's going to be harder. It's going to be harder, but we still should be beating Leeds without him. We're playing them back to back, one game Wednesday, one game at the weekend, and then we move from there. The appeal may be successful on Casemiro, but I very much doubt it. And if there's a chance of it becoming 4 games, I don't think Man United will take the risk. They'll look at this as a silver lining, and it will be the rest that Casemiro needs. That's the only way you can look at this as a positive. He gets a rest and he comes back fully fit and fresh in 3 games' time. The good thing is when you look at United's fixtures, is 2 of those games will come in a week because we play Leeds twice back to back, and then Leicester. So he'll literally miss the 2 Leeds games and then Leicester. I was hoping the FA Cup game was coming before. That isn't for weeks. So yeah, the FA Cup game isn't going to be part of that. On Liverpool, people, I don't want to laugh at Liverpool, but I can't help myself. Because everything I've been warning Liverpool fans about for 2 years has come true. And they didn't want to listen. They thought I was being biased. They thought I was being disrespectful. They thought I was they thought I was kind of trying to belittle them, put them down. And for me, I just think to myself, why does everybody always sort of have this weird assumption that when a rival gives you a piece of advice or comments, they're doing it to belittle you and to put you down and to banter you and not giving constructive criticism. The system was found out over a year ago, but you got through because you were just in scintillating form. The players have aged out. The players are done with the manager. There's no more energy in this team. You add all those things together, and it's a concoction for disaster. You throw in buying the wrong players and everything else. Liverpool are in big trouble. Now, are they going to? I mean, there was a stat that showed that I saw some Arsenal fans celebrate, and Liverpool fans joined in saying United would actually be fifth if VAR didn't make mistakes. Liverpool would be 2 points above relegation. And with the 2 wins today for relegation teams, Liverpool would be in the relegation zone if VAR hadn't made wrong decisions in their favor this season. That's how crazy bad their form has been. Crazy bad it's been. Jurgen Klopp has got to be sacked or walk away from Liverpool. I don't even think money is going to turn this round. The players do not want in there because that team today lacked fight. That team lacked ambition and professionalism on the football pitch, and it lacked any type of desire. And Jurgen Klopp's system doesn't work without it. You could bring in Neymar and Messi, Mbappe. You know, you could give them Chelsea's money. You could give them Man United's, Casemiro. You could stick Saka in that team from Arsenal. You could take all the best players in the Prem, stick them in this Liverpool team. If they ain't working hard for Klopp, it doesn't work. Klopp's system, just like Pep's, is based upon hard work, energy, passion, and desire. That is the base and foundation. There's no foundation. And in strong wins is what the Premier League is. With no foundation, your house is blowing away. They're in absolute trouble, Liverpool, and sacking Jurgen Klopp is the only option. Or resignment. The man has got to hand in the resignation. He simply has to hand in the resignation. He simply has to. He simply has to. Super chat here says, what a donkey of a ref in the United game. Happy with the 3 points, though. Liverpool muddied. Love to see it. Glory, glory, Man United. Klopp out, being found out. He's done. New tactics, not players. United improving, but no offense, Terry, you'll lose to the Toon in the League Cup final. We may very well do. I don't think it's like a prerequisite or a foregone conclusion for anybody, if I'm being honest with you. Big up Everton. They slapped us. Still can win the Premier League. Of course you can. Terry, I'm honestly starting to dislike Anthony. It's his fault for the red card. Yeah, I think Anthony has got to take an element of culpability as well. He didn't need to push Schlupp in the back like that. Equally, I think Schlupp should have received the red card because he pushed the man down the ditch. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. He physically pushed him down there, and he did it on purpose. VAR should have been checking that. You know, if you push the referee over like that, you get a red card, right? So why, if you can't touch the ref like that, you can't touch a player like it. If a player pushed the manager like that, they receive a red card. So why can he push a player off the pitch in that way? You can't do it. You can't do it. It was violent conduct from him. But Anthony is where Anthony was stupid and Casemiro. We were leading 2-0. We had no reason to lose our heads. Do I think it was cast iron, violent conduct, as I've already stated? I'm not too sure. And we see the evidence again. The bottom picture is, you can clearly see he's holding his shoulder, stroke bottom of his neck. The top video looks like it's his throat. But you've given the referee a decision to make. And as soon as you saw there was only one angle, you knew categorically it was being given as a red. They didn't watch the lead up to see how he grabbed him. Because if you watch the lead up, he's got it on the side and he's holding him and trying to push him back and calm him down. And then if you watch just after, the player pulls him, he tries to drag him back and says, calm down, chill. And they're not fighting each other. That's why when you look at those scenarios, you have to look at more. But Casemiro should have just let him get on with it. If the Palace player hits a United player, we benefit. Why are you stopping Palace players? That's more my issue than grabbing at the throat. Equally, if you're going to do something that's violent and get sent off and miss 3 games, you might as well have punched him. You might as well have punched him and got your money's worth. You know what I mean? It's like getting done for speeding at 31 miles an hour. Why? Do 50. I'm joking. Never speed. Like, it just makes no sense to do it the other way around. This here from Pav says, Ayew had Fred in around by the neck to go check. I have also seen pushes in Fred's face and things like that. And that's the issue there with the consistency. I saw it when I said they're checking violent conduct and I was watching. I thought there was a slap or a push or a punch in Fred's face that came before it. And again, we need to know what they've reviewed. This is why referees need to be mic'd up. This is why we need to hear what's going on, because at least then we'd have an understanding. Terry, I think we have our team back. Cedric, this Man United team showed great perseverance and fight. And I want to shout out someone today, Lissandro Martinez. What a performance from that little hobbit, because he was sensational today. Game's gone soft, but if Cass gets a red card, then so should Slup as he sends Anthony into the steps. Couldn't agree more. Anthony's is literally endangering an opponent. He could have broken his leg. He literally could have broken his leg. Could have hurt himself. Could have got damaged. Could have hurt a fan. If you've ever been there, there's not a lot of room between where the fan's sitting there. It's dangerous what he did. Should have also received a red card. Absolutely 100%. Also, Terry, where are the Give Me Sport overconfident Liverpool fans who always supports FFG? Yeah, Louis hasn't returned a DM from me in a long time, so I have no idea where Louis is. Bellingham won't go to Liverpool at this rate. Bro, that race is already over. Bellingham is not going to Liverpool. Liverpool fans need to honestly forget that. Liverpool fans need to give up any hope they have in their brains, of signing Jude Bellingham. Unless they have a massive takeover by a billionaire that's willing to spend the kind of money that Chelsea are spending. It is not happening. It legitimately is not happening for love nor money. It can't happen. It won't happen. It will never happen. Terry, I can't understand that Casemiro gets a red card, but Slip gets a yellow for shoving Anthony into the advertising boards. Mate, I agree with that completely. I want consistency on it. We didn't get any. I agree. Terry, I just watched some replays and Ayew holds his hand around Fred's throat also. Or maybe Man United can use that in the appeal. Maybe Manchester United can use that in the appeal and use it to their advantage in terms of that. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't normally do conspiracy theories, but I did feel like the referee. I did feel like the referee. Oh yeah, I've just seen the footage here. I've just seen the footage. I'm going to take a screenshot actually and put it up on the screen for you all. But I did kind of feel like that decision, it was like trigger happy. They looked disappointed that we got the penalty as well in the first half when it was a clear handball. And then the tackle from Sabitzer where he won the ball and they gave a foul. It was almost like, no, United are going to run off and score. It was 2 versus the goalkeeper. 110% we were going to score from that. 110% we were going to score from it. And I do honestly feel like they bottled it. I do honestly feel like they have bottled it. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I'm just going to make a screenshot. Stay with me, people. We are going to bring the panel out really, really soon to have their say. We are light at Liverpool fans today. I don't know where they all are. I'm going to share the link because I need to hear from some Liverpool supporters. I'm going to make. Yeah, it's literally. It's actually worse than Casemiro's. It's worse than Casemiro's when you see this. And I'll show you as to why. Because it's right around the front of his throat, not on the side. Not on the side. Look at this when you see this, people. This is legit. His hand around his throat. His hand is right. And what he actually did that makes it even worse is he strikes him. So he strikes him in the throat. He pushes his hand into the throat. Why is that not a red card? I didn't see that in real time. Now I've seen that. It's either 2 reds or no reds. That's outrageous. Outrageous that Ayew wasn't given a red card as well. Smash the like, people. Great content, Terry. Not a red card for me. I'm a Newcastle fan. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate your honesty there, my friend. How good was Licha today? Yeah, listen, Martinez, one of the best centre-backs in the world, proved it again today. Terry, I just watched some replays and Alexander and Fred's throat. Yeah, I see that as well, my friend. It's just a disgrace. The obvious bias against United is becoming ridiculous. Terry, these decisions against United cannot continue. I'm tired. Then we've got to do something about it. Firstly, kill the games off. United needs to become more clinical and kill the games off themselves. And our manager needs to start speaking up. Our manager needs to start laying down the law a little bit more, calling them out, and fans have got to get behind him a little more because we've had some stonewall penalties in the last few days not given. And by the way, if Andy Carroll doesn't get a red for ending a player's season, why is Casemiro getting one for cuddling, man? He basically cuddled Hughes. It was a little cuddle, a little bit of aggression. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. Bro, look at Hughes's hands in both those pictures. They are taken at different times. And if you watch the video, you can literally see he did, but always Klopp in, Pep out, Ten Hag out, Potter in, ha ha. I know you're saying those pictures at different times, but even when I was watching it, again, this is, I don't know if you've ever been in a fight. I've had like held my brother back before, and I've held him here. And you're holding him back by the scruff of the neck, you're grabbing the neck, you're not being aggressive towards him, you're stopping him from doing something stupid. My point of view is let him, because footballers don't knock each other out. No, as very rarely happens. I just let man get on with it. I wouldn't stop any rival. I'd let them do something dumb. Terry, time to talk about 007 Gakpo. He's not called Gakpo. It's called Guffpo. Man's fart, bruv. Guffpo. Guffpo the Great. He's a bum. And I'm so glad. And I'm so glad Liverpool hijacked Man United for that player. Legitimately glad. Game's gone soft, but if Casemiro gets a red, then so should slip. Sorry, already done that one, Ty. Thank you. Nah, in United match, this ref pissed me off to different levels. Accounts need checking, is what Jay says. If that's a red, then pushing Anthony down the slope is also a red. A lot of people are agreeing with that one. And he also says here, time to talk about agent Gakpo, 0 goals, 0 assists in 7 games for him. Yeah, it's been a torrid time for him. There's no doubt about that. It's been a bloody awful time for that man at Liverpool, but he shouldn't be there anyway. It shouldn't be there anyway. It really shouldn't. Casemiro needs to call off for heaven's sake. Too hot-headed. Listen, I agree that he's silly. But if United have got a case now because of what happened to Fred, they can appeal. And sometimes you win your appeals if you can show examples of other people doing similar and not receiving the punishment because of consistency. The problem is, I'm just looking at the fixtures now. If we appeal and it goes 1 game further and he gets 4 games, he misses the Carabao Cup final. So Man United have got to, like, there was a time Man United did that before with Rio Ferdinand. They didn't want to get extended. They thought they'd win, and he got 4-game ban, and he missed a massive game for us in the league. So yeah, you can't. I don't. I want United to appeal, but I don't know if they will. Yeah, this here says if the appeal fails, Casemiro misses the Carabao Cup final. Are you willing to risk it? This is where United do their due diligence, and they have to be sure whether they win it. Personally, I think we beat Leeds with or without him, and I think we beat Leicester at home without him. I think we can win our next 3 games without Casemiro. We've beaten those teams regularly, home and away, without him. I say we put faith in these players and we keep them out the side and don't appeal personally. But maybe the clubs see it differently. Maybe we see it differently. But yeah, it's a big risk indeed. We've got Tom Little coming on. We've got Dizzy. We've got Steve, who's a Newcastle fan. I think KJ might be joining us as well. Where are the rest of the Liverpool supporters? Where are you? Lesby Avenue. Where are you at? We want to know. We want to know where you are. Where have you all gone? Because you, man, were very noisy for a long time. And recently, it's all gone a little bit. Just a little bit quiet on the Western Front. It's all a little bit quiet on the Western Front. On the Western Front. I want to know. I don't know where man are at. I don't know. Panel's coming out in a few moments' time. Up here, we're going to share the link as well. If any of you want to call in and speak about your team today, a few people asking, did I watch any of the other games? No, I think watching 2 games is enough. But in terms of the other scores today, what were the scores in the other Premier League games? Wow, Leicester won 4-2. I know that's where they were 2-1 down when I last checked. Brighton, they win again against Bournemouth. Wolves obviously smashed them. I mean, I forget Everton won today. That's actually escaped my mind. And what was the other game? Oh, yeah, Brentford smashed Southampton 3-0. What a day in the Premier League. What a day. And what pressure tomorrow in City versus Tottenham. Tottenham need a win, especially if Newcastle win tonight. They're going to need to win massively. Otherwise, they could find themselves drifting further and further away. Man United play their game in hand over Tottenham on Wednesday as well. It's going to be a madness. It really is. All right, panel time now, people. They're coming out to have their say. Make sure like buttons are being smashed and that you're subscribing. Let's do this. Welcome back to the show, people. We're going to be adding some other people that are backstage in a moment. I don't know who to go to first. I'm going to go to you, Tom, as Liverpool got smacked up today. What are you saying?
It's okay, Tom.
Yeah, again, mate. I love you, but it's time to go. I think this is what it's come to. I don't think the players are buying into it anymore. I really don't, because I looked at that game beforehand. I looked at it and I thought, he's put out our best 11. He put out our best 11 that we had at the time. You know, we had the midfield, we had the attack, Nunes on up front and Gakpo on the left. I thought, you know, he's actually got it spot on there. But the players just didn't turn up. The players just didn't follow instructions. And at the end of the day, if the players aren't buying into the manager's got to go. Because I can't replace 25 players, but I can replace a manager. And we're going into a situation which Jurgen Klopp has never dealt with before. We're going into a situation where we need a rebuild of a successful squad. And Jurgen Klopp has been successful when rebuilding awful squads. But once we get to the point where we need him to rebuild the squad that he's grew attachment to, grew affection to, went up to the top with, I don't think he can do it. I don't think he's got the bottle to do it. I think he's too arsed about being able to have drinks with these players in 5 years' time and protecting relationships than what's successful on the football pitch. So if that's the case, I love you, Jurgen, but you're not saying if you love someone, let them go. Let him go. Let him go. Let him do what he needs to do. Let him go manage Germany or whatever, because we need someone who comes in now and revitalizes this team. I'm sick of the press conferences. I'm sick of the excuses. I'm sick of the tactics. I'm sick to death of the substitutions. What the fuck is Jordan Henderson going to do in the 60th minute at 3-0 down? That man can't change a game when we're 1-0 up, let alone 3-0 down. So I'm completely gone with him. And I'm sitting there now. We are, what are we in? February 4th? 11 points. That's all I need from this season now. I need 11 more points from the last couple of games we've got. Get me to 40. Make sure I'm safe from relegation and I can tap out of this season. I can go watch Newcastle. I can go watch Serie A. I can go watch Jose Mourinho and Roma. I can go watch Bayer Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso. But right now with Liverpool, 40 points and I'm tapped out. And get me. If I'm replacing Jurgen Klopp, which I'm pretty much thinking of doing now, Ruben Amorim from Sporting, Thomas Tuchel, or Xabi Alonso. Any three of them, get them through that door. And they've got my 100% backing. But I just think it's a sad end, really, to this Klopp era, because it's been the best we've had for 30 years. But it's an ending that I saw coming. And it's an ending that's went worse.
I completely agree with you. And of course, rivals will say you're just saying that, Terry, because you want one of the best managers in the world to go. I want Klopp to stay on a fan level. As a Man United fan, Jurgen Klopp staying is good for my club. He is absolutely done out here. And you can just tell there's no commitment from these players because, again, this Wolves team are in a relegation fight. Now, they've improved under the new manager. There's no doubt they've improved and got better. But every match I've seen you playing recently, I'm just going to click for a moment here on your recent games and fixtures. I'm just going to talk recently. And again, it doesn't matter who you've got fit, who's out injured, who comes back in. You've been the same for a while now. I didn't even clock this before looking. Just in the Prem alone, right? It's 4 games without defeat. Let's look at your last 4 games. Today against Wolves, outworked. You're going up against, Chelsea and you, it was a mid-up. We get that. Brighton destroyed you. Brentford destroyed you. These teams, when you actually go through their starting lineups, the majority don't have more than 10%, maybe 20% players that are better than Liverpool's.
Oh, no.
You go back to the previous games. You scrape past Leicester with 2 own goals from Fook or whatever his name is, right? You beat Villa, but they had so many chances in that game. They had so many chances in the match. You deserve to beat Southampton, and you deserve to beat Tottenham. In your last 10 matches, you've had 2 games where you were actually decent and you deserve to win. Outside of that, it's been a couple of lucky wins and a couple of really lucky wins. And then 3 of the last 4 matches, you've been annihilated. Not beaten, annihilated, bruv. Absolutely crazy.
Post-World Cup, beyond the World Cup, before the World Cup, we weren't playing well, but we were grinding out results. I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. Past the World Cup, this Liverpool team has been relegation fodder. It has been I don't think you understand, Terry. I'm absolutely petrified of Sean Dyche and Bale, and not even Bale. I don't think I'm petrified of it.
You need to be. If they perform next week in the Merseyside derby as they did today, you lose. You lose.
We're done. Onana, Decore, Gay, them 3. against Jordan Henderson, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, James Milner, Fabinho, Bajcetic, Thiago. They're running us over. And then the corners terrify me. They absolutely... Joel Matt, you know what? I'm not even going to call it. He doesn't deserve his name. Ice Spice and Bambiana Spice are two centre-backs. Fuck me, they're awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
We just got to keep the swearing down a little bit because YouTube's been a mad one on that recently. Like every video gets demonetized when people swear.
I spite.
By the way, sorry, let me just check. By the way, 1-0 Newcastle in the opening minute of the game. Steve, I know you're going to go and watch your team. I just want to get your what you're here to say, bro. And then we're going to rotate a little bit. What are you saying, Steve?
Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, 1-0 Willock. Oh, my VAR. All I got to say is thank you, Liverpool, for the top 4 spot. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the shot at the Carabao Cup final, too, as well. I really appreciate it, man. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. You're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. Owners are crap. Oh, managers turn to crap, and then the players have. It all trickles down. I really went ham over a no goal.
By the way, I'm hearing it's no goal, but then you've gone and scored again straight away. Someone just said
Callum Wilson.
So now you've just gone and scored again.
No way. What? I must be behind. I'm at 2:11 right now.
Yeah. Well, you're a little bit ahead of me. I'm watching on Sky Go, but yeah. By the way, I think you have scored.
Yes.
There we go. Steve, listen, I appreciate what you said. I'm going to let you get back to watching your team. Plus, your lights are honestly going to give me an epileptic fit.
My bad, man.
I'll chat to you again soon. Cheers, bro. Thank you very much. Indeed. Top man. United boys, we're going to bring in B-Man. We're going to bring in DR, Pavs behind the scenes as well. But what a mad day for Man United, KJ.
Yo, honestly, it was crazy. I'm gonna be brief because I've got to go and do other things. But what I saw today was the mental fortitude of this team. And before I start praising the team, I want to say something a bit controversial. I am vexed at Casemiro, but I'm equally as vexed at Anthony because he did not need to go over, run up a hill, and barge man and cause a brawl. No one's saying that Casemiro should have been holding man by the neck. He shouldn't be doing that. And he's stupid, absolutely stupid for doing that in the first place. You've got so many different parts of the body you can hold man off wide neck. But that all happened because Anthony was a hothead, lost his head, and went back into a player who knocked him down. If he just stayed down on the hill, the ref would have came over, booked schlup, and the game keeps going. We've got 11 men on the field. But man has to lose his head. We need to stop doing these things. Like Anthony needs to relax himself. He had flipping time to stand up before we run up the hill, be like, is this a smart thing to do? He had time to do that. So people saying, they mind it, it's not Anthony's fault. He had to do it because he got barged. I don't care, man. There's things that you don't need to do. Being a hothead is not one of them. So shoot me, but he didn't need to do that.
So I agree, it was stupid. But if I throw out this argument to you, Man United, when we were at our best, we had players like Wayne Rooney that did dumb things, Cantona that did dumb things. There is an argument that fight and passion that sometimes spills over into stupidity is also what creates a team spirit that helps you win games. So I totally agree. It was dumb. At the same time, like remember back at that Liverpool game where like you had him and you had like people like barging Mo Salah and doing all these matters. We loved it. And I think for me, you've got to get the balance right. I think what is frustrating about it though is I didn't see it in real time. Seeing IU grab and
yeah, again, and that just goes back to the consistency of VAR and the refs and what they want to do. But what the most important thing is from there. Yes, we conceded the goal. It's fair enough. We just lost to one of your best DMs, but we went on and we stood our ground. We was mentally strong. Defense was flawless. Sabitzer came on amazing. Literally for the situation he came on for his debut, he did brilliantly. Fred stepped up. When he was high pressing, he was brilliant. Luke Shaw again, brilliant, great assist. Rashford did good as well. I'm just happy that these guys stepped up. And what I was vexed about in the Arsenal game, what I was vexed about in the first Crystal Palace game was these things happening and we didn't step up to the plate. Today we did. I'm happy with the win. Ten Hag and these players are building something. And even though we may not have Casemiro for the Carabao Cup final, I still believe in these guys to step up, especially if someone like Sabitzer can come in now and fill in. it's going to be a brilliant chance to win the trophy. But yeah, well done, Man United. Beautiful win. Anthony, I love you. Relax your head. You know what I mean? And yeah, we keep going, man. We keep going. And Tom, yo, cheer up, my brother. You're going to get Bellingham in the summer, innit? It's all good, my brother. It's all good. New owners, Bellingham, happy days. Klopp in.
That's a very different way of saying James won a new contract. But hey, ho.
What did you make of today, Dizzy? Like, I mean, because obviously KJ, they're not happy with the players for getting themselves sent off, which we get. But aside from that, because we've all spoke about the red card, how happy were you with Man United's reaction? Whoa. How happy were you with our perseverance? How happy were you with that kind of fight to make sure we won?
First, before we get to the red card, you know what's hilarious? The first half was so comfortable. I had time to cut my hair. That's what I was on in the first half. It was super light. I took time to do the back and all sorts, right? And then we made a game out of a non-event, essentially, because we were cruising, we were comfortable. They didn't have a chance really when all of our players were on the pitch. And then obviously the red card happens. KJ's pissed. But you know what? The way I look at it is we've asked for so long for these players to fight for each other, to fight for the badge, and not to leave a man in the middle of a brawl, essentially. Like I think it was the Liverpool game. Somebody was trying to fight Ronaldo, and it was him and Bruno, and that was it. And everybody was like, "Where are the rest of the players?" Hannibal. Sorry, yeah, exactly. And so now we find ourselves in a place where they are fighting for each other. We do look comfortable. We play better more often than we don't play good. We're winning more games than we're drawing or losing. We're in a comfortable position in the league. I think you can't be mad at it. I think it was a moment of passion that got a little bit out of hand, and your hands are going everywhere. It could have been any one of them to get sent off, really. But I'm happy, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, I think look, we'll tackle Casemiro not being available when that happens. You know, yeah. on Wednesday night we play Leeds. We'll think about it then. For today, we held on to those 3 points, and of course, there's a certain player, 27 goal contributions this year, 15 in his last 13 games, the most informed forward in Europe. Of course, he's doing it in the hardest league in Europe, which is the Premier League. Marcus Rashford, and another poachers. I mean, the goal was identical to the one against City, and that's what I'm loving about Rashford right now. Rashford is scoring similar goals all the time. You know, since the World Cup, he has scored 2 or 3 goals where he's dribbled through 2 or 3 people, or there's been 1-2 that have played him into the box. He scored 2 or 3 goals where the ball just gets played across the 6-yard box and he's tapping it in. He's always in the right place. And what I love about him is that he had a few shots in the game, didn't quite come off, but he keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And that mental strength is what that celebration is all about. It's about, I'm not losing my head anymore. I'm not losing my confidence anymore. And Rashford, for me right now, it's going to be hard because Arsenal or City are going to win the league. But right now, he's tracking towards being player of the season. That is how good. I mean, if this form continues for the rest of the year, there is a genuine case for him to be maybe not the Premier League player of the year, because that's about one competition, but the football writers or the LMA player of the year. If United win trophies and this guy keeps scoring like this, they always say the second half of the season is the hardest part of the season. And Haaland at the moment in the business end isn't delivering. If Rashford keeps this going, United will 1 win trophies, 2 will get back in the Champions League, and he's going to break records for an inside forward at Man United. And for me, I'm very, very excited about how good he is right now. He's just devastating, and I'm very proud of him, proud of Bruno, proud of the team. Martinez at the back. And the crazy bit is, we're looking at young Tom down there. The way Man United are right now and the way Liverpool are just polar opposites. But this time last year, we were polar opposites in the other directions. And that's how you know. Part of it is Liverpool aging out. But there is a determination, a dedication that is gone now from Liverpool. It's finished now from Liverpool. They're finished.
Yeah, now, what's it called? If you had told me when I woke up today, if you told me Liverpool and Arsenal were both going to lose and we were going to win, man, I would have had this exact same smile, to be honest. I do feel for Liverpool. I don't know. Well, I mean, I know where they're going wrong. They bought another winger instead of a midfielder, and games are won and lost in midfield. So why they did that, I couldn't tell you. But hey, man, long may it continue. I'm not gonna lie. But as far as this end of the season period, this is where, and this is why I'm happy that Arsenal lost today, because I think we was talking offline, and we said these moments where it's a little bit closer, Now you get to see players under pressure and see what they're made of. It's easy when you're cruising and you're 5, 10, 11 points ahead. But when you're 2 points ahead, 5 points ahead, where a loss will put you in a different position, that's where you see what people are made of. Yeah, I'm happy. Tom, G, come on, bro. It's not that bad, bro. You'll get better. It's cyclical, G. This is how it goes. Errors were made for ending.
Hwang Hee-chan looked like the best winger on the pitch today. Hwang Hee-chan.
Yo, what's your take on Salah though? Because realistically, since he got that new contract, he's kind of been asked, no?
What we have done with Mohamed Salah is get the greatest goal-scoring winger the Premier League has seen and tell him, and we've sat him down pre-season, put in a CD, and it's come up, Mark Albrighton 15-16, skills, goals, highlights. And we've told Mo Salah, what he done there, hook touch line, whip balls in, that's what you do. And Mo Salah, it doesn't make sense. And it all comes back to one person, my manager, who is making no sense and has no experience in this position before. And I don't want to see my football club, that this is the narrative around this club that grinds me the most. Oh, yeah, we were in this position before, so it doesn't matter. Klopp's the best thing to ever happen. He took us from here to here. We should be great. Yes, that's fine. But just because it never happened before doesn't mean I should settle for it now. I should not settle for us going back down to 8th and back down to the doldrums because we didn't expect to get as good as we got. What you do, you build yourself up and you do. I know this football club doesn't like this word. You sustain. SUSTAIN. That's what you do. My football club doesn't like to do that because we like the storylines and the underdog and yeah. I'm sick of it. Why can't we just get to the top and start spending money and sustaining it? Because I'd much rather that than the constant yo-yoing between 1st, then 4th, then 8th, then 6th, then 4th, then 2nd, then 8th, then... I'm sick of it now. We've had that period. We got right to the top. We were the best team in the world. And no one else, other than the coaching staff, have brought us back down to this position. No one else. So I'm done with it. There's managers out there who can get us back to where we need to get to. So go get them.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, bro.
Who though? Is my question.
Sure. If you want trophies right here and now with this group, Thomas Tuchel. If you want a 3 to 5 year project, like a longer term project, Ruben Amorim from Sporting. If we're going to do what I expect us to do, which is commit 7+ years to a manager, go get Xabi in. Go get Xabi Alonso in. Any of them 3, I don't care. But what I'm seeing now from this group of players, it's done. They are just not doing anything for the manager. And when the players aren't fighting for the manager's got to go.
I hear you on that. We're going to take some calls now. We've got B-Man coming on to join us. Long time no see, B-Man. What you saying, bro? No connection. Try calling us back, bro. Really poor connection. Pav's here with us now. Big Man United fan. What you saying, Pav?
What's going on, man? Hey, Terry, do you remember last year? We were Liverpool last year at this time. How the tables have turned. Oh, my God. You, man, are committing all sorts of haram at the minute, man, at your club. Oh, my God. Like, you're probably playing worse than what we were last year. Like, I don't even understand how your downfall would, like, gradually become this bad. Like, after competing for 4 different trophies, and now you're, like, in the pits. It's fucking hilarious, mate. But it's all right. You're going to get Mateus Nunes and Bellingham in the summer, so it's all good, man. You got something to cheer about.
No, we're not.
And that's all I heard for the last 4 or 5 months, bro. Bellingham and Mateus Nunes. It's all right. You're going to get them. Don't worry. It's all good. Now, on the United game, mate, I was begging for Anthony to come off before that incident happened. I was like, oh, this is a good time to take him off, get Sancho on, get Sabitzer on. And the thing is, this isn't the first time he's kicked out. I've seen it in a few games now. If someone goes in on him, the man's hot-headed. And I'm surprised that none of the players clock onto it because he does go up to players and tries to start beef with them. But today was just some next level of, like, bullshit. And I don't get the VAR. If you're focusing on Casemiro, what he's doing, why isn't no one looking at Ayew, bruv? It's bang in the middle there. The man's literally trying to choke him out. Like the man thinks he's like mankind, putting a sock down his mouth or something. What's going on? I don't get it. I don't think we're gonna appeal it. And even if we did, I think the FA, the way it's going since that milk dud Howard Webb's come back in, the officiating's gone to like crap. It's literally at the lowest point. Nothing's changing. I saw him yesterday talking with Carragher and that, just speaking a load of crap. The referees, even with the Rashford the penalty that we got, they were looking for anything to try and not give it to us. Like ever since Rashford's offside stuff, like we've been having a lot of decisions going not our way, and I was surprised. I was just surprised. Like as soon as I saw that Casemiro thing, I was like, yeah, he's gone. They're not gonna give him a yellow or nothing. He was coming off, but someone needs to keep Anthony in check, man. Like Ten Hag needs to sit him down because it's not the first time. The man's starting beef with a lot of players. Like if you're getting pushed, bro, it's football. You're gonna get pushed about. People are gonna kick out at you. Like you need to keep a calm head, and some of the players need to keep him in check as well, man. Because stuff like this, it could cost us points, and I don't want to be dropping points. We're in a good position. Like the teams behind us are not really playing that great. Tottenham ain't going to do nothing, and I don't want to be dropping points and letting other teams catch up to us. We already lost 2 points to Palace before, and it could have happened again today because that Elise, he was whipping in balls, bruv, and I was scared when he was just like, I was like, oh my God, is it going to happen again?
That last, like, when I said 7 minutes of time added on, obviously, like, I'm watching on Sky Go in my office, not on the TV, so you're always about a minute behind. So I have live score on, which gives me updates about 30 seconds before the TV does. So I obviously want to get my overlays ready, thumbnails ready. And I literally had titles for if we drew, titles for if we won, titles for if we lost. And I'm sitting there stressed. I do get what you're saying about people need to keep him in check. I do hear you on that. At the same time, I don't mind what he did, but it's about everybody else. It's about game management. So doing that would have been perfect if Casemiro doesn't grab man by the neck, because all it really did, because they wouldn't have added all that time on. The time added on was for the VAR, checking whether or not it was a red card. Doing that stuff when you're winning 2-0 is perfect to a degree, but you've got to do it in a way where you're actually cool. You look angry, but you're keeping your cool, and no one's going to do nothing stupid. The problem you had is Casemiro putting your hands anywhere near that throat, because I agree with you. These referees and VAR in the Premier League right now, there's something. I think with Man United, they were scared of us with Fergie, so they would give us all the right decisions, and the occasional poor decision would go our way. I think there's an element with us not winning anything properly for a decade. There's like we can stick it on United. I think they're scared of Pep. I think they're scared of Klopp. You know,
and the thing is, like, there's a lot of
the way they're going at Arsenal. It's because they're not intimidated yet by Arsenal or Arteta. So it's almost like, you know, like bullies in school who they pick on. At the moment, the referees are still they're trying to bully some of the big teams, intimidated by, and that's why we need that's why Arsenal got to do it. But from a United point of view, our manager needs to come out with some facts. So I wouldn't mind him in a press conference sitting there and saying, why are these things not red cards, but this is? Why was this player not given a red card for grabbing our player around the neck? Why are these not penalties? I'd be saying, I'd do it in a press conference. I want a full explanation from the PLOM or whatever the fuck they're called. I want a full explanation as to why that wasn't given. I don't care about what you've given. I need to understand the rationale. He's got to now call them out, because that is what Jurgen Klopp did to us 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as he did it, we stopped getting penalties. So we've got to do it in reverse now. You have to do it. You actually have to. You do it. But someone said he said it in an interview. Cool. I'm talking. Come out in a press conference with video evidence. Make the referees and the Premier League look stupid by saying, why did this guy get a red card? Why for this, but not taking someone out for a season? Why is this throat grab a red card and this one isn't? Ask them to explain it. Make it headline news. Yeah, you'll get belittled by rivals saying you're whinging and you're moaning. Forget them. You've got to put pressure on the people making decisions. Have to.
And you know that's why refs was scared of Fergie, because he would do stuff like that. The dark arts, if you will. He would, after a game, even if we lost 1-0 or something like that, he'll come out and say, dude, that ref was terrible. And then he'll start going on about the ref and not the performance or whatever the case was. So I think Ten Hag could be a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Cynical as far as that part of his management. But I think minus delaying to bring Sabitzer on, I think Ten Hag has essentially been faultless. I think today we learned a lot about him as well as like making in-game adjustments. Because I think under Ollie and some of the other man, if we were under pressure the way we were in the second half, it's a long day. But today the subs that he made essentially killed the game again, which is great to see.
Yes, Sabitzer definitely. Pav, listen, mate, thanks for coming on.
Just before I go, Terry, people are like calling Casemiro a disgrace, a cheat, he's always been a dirty player. You do realise it's his first red card in his like career in like league football. You man are here calling him a dirty player, bruv. Like, go check your facts on him, bro. The man's 30 and it's his first red, like in like league football or whatever it is.
There we
go. But yeah, anything to fit your lot's narratives out there, innit? But still.
There we go.
Cheers for having me on anyway, man.
Cheers, mate. Speak soon, bro. Thank you very much indeed. There was a comment here. I'm going to do some super chats, but this comment here said, I thought referee agendas were a myth according to you. So I'm not saying there's a conspiracy theory. I don't agree with conspiracy theories that the FA, the Premier League and refs sit down and go, right, we're going to rob Man United. I think sometimes, though, bigger, more powerful managers and teams say things and put pressure on managers and it gets into their head. So they become, their decision-making becomes clouded. You've got to fight fire with fire. Ollie was too weak to do it. You need someone to start being strong and it's all mind games. You know, you try to get boxers do it in fights. Oh, this fight is dirty. He tries to do this. I hope the referee stop it. Why if I'm an opponent, why do I want the referee stopping my opponent from holding or doing certain things in fights? Because that might be a little like that could be a little thing that where a fighter you're up against sort of gains an advantage over a 12 round fight by tiring you by holding on to you. If you can make the referee stop the holding on and threaten to take points off, you take away something from their arsenal. It's all about mind games. So I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory. I'm saying the more powerful managers, the scarier managers, put pressure upon referees. It isn't cheating. It's part of the psychological warfare of sport. That's why I said I didn't say it's got to stop. I didn't say it's got to stop. I said we've got to fight fire with fire. There is a fun.
Like when Klopp said out, like when was it? A couple of years ago now, when Klopp came out and said United got more penalties in 1 year than I've had in 5, and then United just all of a sudden stopped getting penalties.
Absolutely. There's something here. Ten Hag has reportedly said that Casemiro crossed the line. You saw that. However, I'm unhappy with the inconsistent refereeing, not only the game, but also at Palace. They elbowed Martinez and last week with Eriksen. And he's absolutely right. And I'm glad that he started calling these things out. Samuel's joining us, Liverpool fan now. What are you saying, bro?
Same old, I guess. Same old. Oh, do you know what? Yeah, this team. I can only blame the manager so much. The players have given up. The players have given up. Literally, the players. These are players that will run through a brick wall for the manager a few years ago. Now they've just given up. Like they can't even make simple passes together. And it's not just once. It's not just twice. This has happened over like 15 times, 20 times. I've got to a point now where I'm in two crossroads about it. We're in a crossroad about it. Sack Klopp, cool. However, do you trust these owners to get a new manager, a good new manager? Because there's a lot of Klopp outers that don't understand that we still got these owners, FSG, in charge. You have to understand, like, come on now. Like, Klopp is a problem, 100%. But as I said before, I am willing to wait until next season if we get new owners so that they can spend money and they expose if Klopp is really finished or he can still carry on.
I think he's finished, bro. I think he's finished because if the players have stopped playing for him, and that's hugely evident in the way you're moving. Just to put it into context, this time last season after 20 games, Manchester United, as bad as we were, Manchester United had 32 points. Liverpool were on 29. You are 3 points worse off than Man United at this stage last year. And it was one of our worst and most embarrassing seasons in the history of our football club. That's like, it's going, the reason it's going unchecked is the media are not talking about how bad Liverpool are. They're getting for their spending. They're putting pressure on Arsenal. Maybe they'll collapse. Are Man United really good enough to make top 4? Will Newcastle sustain it? You know, Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, they're playing above themselves. Liverpool are just being ignored. For some reason, there is such a love fest for Liverpool, such a love fest and admiration for Jurgen Klopp that nobody is talking about it. And Jamie Carragher is the one I want to see called out. I want to see Gary Neville on the next Monday Night Football get serious with him and talk about the manager. Doesn't matter how much credit you've got in the bank. Doesn't matter. Questions need to be asked. Now, you could say, of course, he deserves a chance under new owners. Of course, you give him more time. Of course, you know, he can bounce back through this. But we need to hear the conversation. The fact the conversation is not being had at almost any capacity by any of the mainstream media outlets is crazy. Now, everyone goes, oh, you defend Liverpool so much, Arsenal so much. I defend Arsenal because there'll be more uproar. There'll be more talk of Arsenal on the airwaves tomorrow and Monday than Liverpool getting battered again. And that should never happen. When you've got a team last year nearly won a quad to this. This is the biggest story. This is the biggest story in Premier League football this year. Not Todd Bowley spending, not Arsenal, will they or won't they win the league, not Man United top 4, not Newcastle getting to their first cup final since 99. The biggest story is Liverpool's crumble, and it ain't anywhere. I can't see it.
And
you know what? I think. Oh, go on.
And you know what else? The tricky thing with waiting till you get new owners and giving Klopp a whole bunch of money in the summer, given his checkered history with recent transfers, if you're giving him infinite amount of money and they're all dead, if he then dips in, let's say, the following January, now you have a bunch of players on fresh contracts on probably crazy money, and now you have a manager who can well within his right come into the team and say, these ain't none of my man. I don't want to play none of these.
But this is the question. This is the question I will ask you. I hear it. But do you trust these owners to get a good manager?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yes. Because
you trust them, yeah? You trust cool. You trust them.
Yes. Look, I don't trust these owners, but I trust that they would make the club, not the owners, the club as a whole would make the correct decision. Because when you look at where we are as a club now and the managers that will be willing to join, my top 3 candidates, Amorim, Tuchel, and Alonso, they've all worked under budgetary restrictions like this. Alonso less so because he's in a new job at Leverkusen, but still, they don't have bucket loads of money. So Tuchel has worked under a strict budget at Dortmund, where he's had to sell players, and Amorim has worked under a strict budget at Sporting, where he's had to sell players, and both of them have had success at it. So I've got no doubt that they will appoint a manager that buys into their style, and Tuchel and Amorim both fall into that. The issue is regarding the new owners, are they going to come in? Because when you're sitting there, and I agree to an end to like a degree about, you know, Klopp's earned the right to get to spend all this money on the owners. Has he though? Because what Klopp's done is earned the right to manage this team under new ownership. He hasn't earned the right to spend the money. What he's done is earned the right to have someone else spend the money for him. But that's not what's happening at the minute. What's happening at the minute is Jurgen Klopp is getting to spend the money. And Jurgen Klopp, when he spends the money, buys attackers more than he buys midfielders. We have not bought a midfielder since Thiago Alcantara 3 years ago. 3 years ago. We have not. I am still waiting for my Wijnaldum replacements. Still. I'm waiting for my Wijnaldum replacements. Ox, not good enough. Keita, useless. Milner, past it. Jones, awful. Henderson, god awful. Fabinho, he wasn't even part of the squad today. He's been ostracised by the manager. So then what do we get down to? I'll put it simply. This is the most plain and simple way I can put it. Jurgen Klopp's a fantastic manager. I will forever be thankful for what he's done building this club up. I don't trust him to rebuild the squad he's built. I don't think he's the right man to do that because I think he's too wrapped up in his own loyalties and I think he's too wrapped up in his own players that he's worked with in the past to do it to the nth degree that we need it to be done to. We've been crap in the past. We should not have to constantly fall back to that level to rebuild. We should be able to have a bad season. Bad seasons for us should not be 9th, 10th, worrying about relegation battles and bottom half finishes. Bad seasons for us should be a battle for top 4. That's what our bad season should be.
Not when you spent £100 odd million on new players still. Like, you haven't spent Chelsea level money. You haven't, but you've still spent a significant amount of money more than a lot of the teams that are above you right now in the league. And that's why this is embarrassing. West Ham did equalized. Yeah, it's a crazy one for me. Listen, Samuel, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much indeed.
Yo, G, I got a dip. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, bro. I'll speak to you soon, my man. Cheers,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Love.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. This here says rivals are saying we're crying, but all we're asking for is consistency. Casemiro deserves a red, but so did you. Absolutely. Samaritans have opened their hotlines for Liverpool fans. Feels too much like Wenger's dark times. Time for the sack. The thing is, do you know what? The one thing that some people would say to me, but Fergie had a few years where you weren't quite right. I never saw people not playing for him in my lifetime. The years where they said he nearly got sacked, I was so young. I don't really remember the feeling back then, right? I was 5-6 years old. West Ham 1-1. Yes. Paqueta. Try some weird backflip. Oh my god, I nearly broke his back. Yes, I'm happy about that. We're back in third. Yeah. But I think what was I saying with Fergie? Is Fergie's teams didn't play with the intensity that Liverpool's teams do. And I said this before about Klopp, is with the way he makes his teams work, in the short term, you're brilliant. But is it long term sustainable? I think nearly 7 years is phenomenal. I really didn't think it would last as long as this, because you're just asking them essentially, and it's a very small squad, very small group of players, to run through brick walls every day, every week, every training session for years. And I just think they become tired. I think the reason City get away with it, or Pep gets away with it for longer, is because they spend more and the squad's bigger. And if you notice that every year there's a new one or two players that were already there that suddenly become the stars. A year later, Bernardo Silva ain't playing and Foden ain't playing, and suddenly like Ruben Diaz was the best centre back in the world a year ago. Now he's not in the team. He rotates.
Cancelo gets loaned out, all that stuff.
Yeah. Like Sane wasn't needed. They're able to do that because they spend money. So there's a catch-22 here. Unless someone's going to spend, they have to spend earlier. I think now the squad have lost it with Klopp. Therefore, I don't think he can return. Can't wait for Millwall away next season. Ray Chismo from Serene is a Liverpool fan. Can the club not appeal against a 3-match ban? I don't think they're going to. When you hear what the manager said, when Ten Hag says Casemiro crossed the line, they're not going to appeal it. KJ is too self-righteous. It's painful. Man got pushed down a hill, and his reaction happened all the time. Heat at the moment. Yeah, listen, I don't have an issue with the reaction. It's the rest of the players. Let the Palace players raise their hands. Use it to get them sent off. We ended up going a man down, and we ended up adding 7 minutes on of pressure. Like if you're going to do those shithouseries, you got to get it right. You got to be more like Andy Robertson at Liverpool. Rashford is my GOAT. Also, we're above Liverpool, is what Dyke said, who of course is a Chelsea fan. Listen, Rashford right now, and I know Arsenal fans hate this the most. He isn't just the best winger in the league. He's the best player in the league right now. He's absolutely on fire. And his goal today was a tap-in, but it was a positional sense. When other players keep finding the right places to be to score goals, they're praised for it. Like Rashford needs the players.
Strikers love them goals because that's the most skillful thing to do as a striker. Constantly find the right position.
Yeah, it's crazy. Super chat here says from impossible quad to this, what a drop. It's true. It's so true. It's like going from dating Beyonce to Nora Batty from Last of the Summer Wine. It really is. We're going to try and speak to B-Man here. What are you saying, B-Man?
What's up, my people at home? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're very delayed, but we can hear you. That cut off again. I'm not too sure. DR's here with us. What are you saying, DR?
Oh my goodness. My team didn't lose. Nah, my team didn't lose. I'll say 3 things, right? Before I get on to Arsenal. Because Arsenal, don't go anywhere. Man. Chelsea, I remember when I said this to you, I think a couple months back with Potter, right? This is now what makes him elite or not. Can he drop the Bermuda Triangle? Havertz, Gallagher, and Mount, they need dropping. Especially Mount, I think he borderline reserves. He needs time away from it. Because I still think there's a player in some of these players. Like they can just come back. but they need dropping. He needs to. He did it with Koulibaly and Aubameyang. He needs to keep doing it because that's what's going to prevent him from elevating further to more success. Now, Liverpool. All I'm gonna say is you need midfielders, and Chelsea, we have surplus amount of midfielders. As there's Loftus-Cheek, there's Mason Mount. I mean, he's got energy. There's Gallagher. He's listen. Nona's muscle is dated. Gallagher's stronger. He's got some beef to him.
I'm in the trenches right now. I would take a Tranmere level midfielder, but I don't think I didn't watch Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount yesterday. I would much rather play with no midfield than them two together. So you know what? You can keep Mason Mount. You can keep your homegrown talent. You know what? As a gesture of goodwill, we can take your pick of our midfielders. I don't actually care for any of them. So take your pick. Do you want Casey? Do you want Off? Do you want Henderson? Do you want Fabinho?
Buttigieg is nice. Buttigieg is good. One thing I'll give Klopp. I personally understand why you're Klopp out, but I just can't with FSG. Like they have failed this man. Like I understand the Klopp criticism, but what can he? I mean, he can drop. He can't. He can
change system. He can change system because that's what he done earlier on in the season, and we won games. I'm not asking for us to go out and buy 17 players and change everything up. I'm asking to do what you done earlier on this year. When it was going bad earlier on, you went right. 4-3-3 isn't working, so let me go play a 4-4-2 or a diamond. And we didn't play better. We didn't. We still played just as awful, but we won games. I'm not on about playing well right now because that's not going to happen with this current crop of players. I just want us to win games. And to win games, we have to change system. And I don't know why my manager is not realising that because he realised it earlier on. I don't know what suddenly changed in the space of like 6-7 weeks to go, no, it's wrong. It's this, it's that. It doesn't make sense.
Nah, Terry, it's actually sad. Me and Liverpool, Chelsea and Liverpool, we were in finals last year. We were in cup finals. We were playing in Wembley, man. What happened to us?
And we used to have like two penalty shootouts, tight cup final affairs, really good games, 4 offside goals. And 2 weeks ago, we had the worst Premier League game of the season.
Mate, this is the thing. It's that the fall off's crazy, but at least with Chelsea, there's some light at the end of the tunnel with the investments, and there's something new going on. This super chat here says Liverpool is done. Klopp has refused to answer James Pearce because he criticised him. We are done. Well, this is the problem because there comes a point where the Liverpool media can't keep burying their heads in the sand either, and Liverpool have controlled the narrative for so long. And Liverpool fans are all waking up to what we all knew. They're just waking up to it. So, yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting sort of future moving forward. DR, I wanted to get your opinion while you're here. What's your thoughts on Marcus Rashford and his form?
Marcus Rashford is better than Saka. I don't understand. Listen, I understand why people are saying Saka is like really, really good. But I'm praying that my players can do a Rashford because this resurgence, this remontada is sensational. I always knew he was going to be like good, but he was injury prone, or he was just not fully fit. And what you're seeing is just Ten Hag talking to these guys, getting the best out of them. Rashford's form has to be noticed as like world class right now. Like, I know it's wild to some people that like Mbappe is clear. That I understand, but like United fans just have every right to be saying these things because this is the Premier League. This is the hardest league. This is England. He's just balling out. And I know the Arsenal comparisons are there, but I would rather have a Rashford in my team than a Saka. Now, onto Arsenal, they need to realize that they need to win this title this year because United is cooking. City will always be there. And if Chelsea, we could explode into something special. We don't know. Like we're an unknown commodity. But Arsenal, you better win this title. Because these teams are balling. Rashford next year, I expect it. I expect United to be cooking. But yeah, man, the Premier League is crazy. It's crazy. Newcastle as well. Don't forget Newcastle. I almost forgot about them.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. Look, I would say about Arsenal is this whole notion that they won't be at the top next year or they won't be challenging. I think is wrong because as much as we didn't expect them to be doing it this year, they could get even better. Like they could theoretically get even better. Now, the start to their season may never be as good as the one they've had, because only 3 other teams in the history of English football have had better starts. But the thing is about winning trophies, it's never about how you start, it is how you finish, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that it's about capitalizing on opportunities. I look at Man United as a key example as we're speaking about them today. Newcastle were good, but we've got them in a cup final. We do have a better squad of players. We do, in my opinion, have a better manager. So I think we should win, but Newcastle were dangerous, but we need to capitalize on that. Equally, look at the FA Cup. Who's left in it that's dangerous? Man City, Tottenham, Man United. Unless I'm forgetting somebody, legitimately, looking at the FA Cup now, looking at the teams that remain in this tournament, you've got who we got in this? You've got Burnley and Ipswich, Grimsby and Luton, Fleetwood, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, Wrexham, Sunderland, Fulham, Leicester, I suppose, a little dangerous, but not that much. Blackburn, Brighton are still in it. West Ham are still in it, but they play Man United. The point I'm making is, Spurs are out. Spurs went out, didn't they? Sorry, I'm an idiot. Spurs went out. Who did Spurs go out to? Brighton. No.
Spurs went through, didn't they? They beat Preston. We went out to Brighton.
So who are they playing? Why can't I see them on here? Why can't I see who Spurs have got in the next round? Why am I missing them? Legitimately, I'm looking at fixtures. Maybe they haven't put their fixture into a date yet. But I thought Spurs were still in it. Anyway, they're in it. But you have to capitalize on that, because that's why this whole we're more focused on the Premier League is a nonsense to me, because you don't know where you're going to be in 2 months. So you need to stay in as many competitions as you can. Arsenal, I think, if they don't win the league this year, will still be a force to be reckoned with next year, as long as they invest right and as long as the energy at their football club remains the same. I don't think they're going to burn out yet. I don't think they're done listening to Mikel Arteta. You just need to end well. Starting well is brilliant, but you've got to end well. And that's what I'm looking at Man United to do. You know, now what we need, we've started well. We're in a cup final, the latter stage of the FA Cup. We've done really well to progress our season after a dreadful start. Now end the season well. Go to another level if you can, or at least maintain what you're doing. Because if United can pick up a trophy or two, finish in that top 4 and end the season in a flurry, then we're title contenders next year, in my opinion. But do I think Arsenal are going to fall away if they don't win it this year? No. Liverpool, though, what makes it harder is I think Arsenal, Man United, and Arsenal will all be challenging for a title next year. So for Liverpool, the jump up's got to be massive. It really, really does. So yeah, listen, DR, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.
Top man. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Super chat
That's a
here.
scary thing, that, actually. The fact that in the years gone by, it was just us battling City. You just got to be better than one team, albeit a ridiculously good one team. Now there's 3 to 4 that you're sitting there going, they're in there with a shout.
Well, that's why. I mean, me and Jay were talking about this the other day. That's why, by the way, Liverpool won't get relegated, but
Won't be far off it.
Yeah. We were saying the other day that it's different now because it looks like multiple teams are going to challenge. FA Cup. Yeah, they beat Preston, but for some reason
they've got Sheffield United or Wrexham. They're waiting for the
right.
winner.
That's why there's no thing ready on who scored. There's no fixture. That makes sense now. Yeah, that's it. It was blowing my brain.
Yeah, no,
we were looking at it the one thing with both City and Liverpool in this little era they had is that they didn't have any other team competing, and it makes it easier when there's the two of you. Plus, Chelsea generally were poor in that time. They had a good year. United have been crap. Arsenal were crap. Tottenham are Tottenham. So I'm not taking anything away from mid-90s and Centurions, but you weren't doing it like the peak Liverpool, peak Man United, peak Arsenal, and peak Chelsea from sort of 03, 04, right through to 2013, where every year we legitimately had anywhere between 3 to 4 teams who were seen as genuine Champions League winning material. You look at the Prem this year, there's literally one team in it from England who anyone believes could win it. Last year, there was a little bit of belief in Chelsea, but you could say Liverpool and you could definitely say City. Go to the year before that. I know Chelsea won it, but that was seen as an anomaly. Liverpool, City. But you go back for the last 3 or 4 years before that. Even when Tottenham got to the final, it was like, how have they done this and not expected to? And when I talk about expectations, that's what I'm talking about, levels. If Chelsea end up getting to a semi-final with this Champions League, everyone will say overachieved. Back in that era of the Prem between 04 and 2013, if any English team went far in the Champions League, it was seen as expected because they were that good. What that means in the Premier League, though, is you all take more points off of one another. And it's harder to generate those high 90 points when there's only 2 of you that are any good and the rest of you are pretty damn average. The amount of times you've seen Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, and Chelsea in the past 5 to 6 years get beat by mid to bottom half table teams, that didn't happen a decade ago. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And the irony is, Man United and Arsenal got better this year because we've stopped losing to those small teams, barring United's opening 2 games. It stopped happening with as much regularity. Arsenal have lost to one team this year outside of Man United. That wasn't happening for years. If you suddenly have 3 or 4 teams doing that, no one's getting 95, 96, 97 points. It will be 85 to 90 in that mark because it's impossible to do it the other way around when there's multiple teams at that level. You're just not going to do it. 1, you'll all take points off each other. 2, there's more pressure. That pressure cooks you because basically you've got people coming at you from all angles. So look, it's gonna, someone here says not true. Of course, mathematically it's not true, but I'm talking in reality because we've lived it. We've lived it. I've lived it. So I'm going on actual facts from the past and how I believe it will be in the future. If next season, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, City are all capable of winning the league, and you've got Newcastle, Spurs, and Liverpool that are all capable of making top 4, no team goes above 92, 93 points.
It's so different when you've got multiple teams in there because I can only speak from what we've done recently. If you've only ever got one team, they're either playing before you or after you. So you can curtail your expectations around that. If they're before you, then you know that you might need to win based off of the result. If they're after you, you can put the pressure on them. When there's multiple teams, there'll be weekends where one plays before you and one plays after you. So then it's imperative that you get a result on both ends so you can put pressure on and also deal with pressure to put on. It's so much different and the pressure is so much higher because of it. And obviously with the Champions League, in the pomp of us, of England and that 08 period, there was 3 English teams in a Champions League semi-final pretty much regularly. Like that was the if a team failed to beat it to get to that point, it was a bit of a disappointment. And you'd always end up in an all-English semi-final because they were that competitive.
Couldn't agree with you more. And by the way, I will say this, like I give credit to what Liverpool and City have done. They've been brilliant in that time, but it was a different, there's 2 things that were different. And this is why comparing eras should only go on trophies, not points. 1, squads are thicker and deeper now than ever because of the money. And 2, there's only 1, if not, sometimes it was just City competing against themselves, sometimes 2 teams that were of that caliber, where a decade or so ago, there's 3, 4, 5 teams of that caliber. Therefore, it makes it harder. But by the way, I had a comment here that says Newcastle haven't even started to spend yet. I'm sorry. Since their takeover, Newcastle United have spent 310 million. That's in 18 months. In 18 months, in just over 12 months. They're January, summer, January. So in 3 windows, 12 months, Newcastle has spent 315 million euros. What's that in pounds? Because this website I use now does it in.
It's like 260 or something, 260, 270, I think.
282. So in a year, Newcastle spent 282 million pounds. Like, to put that into context, the only team to spend more than them in the last 12 months is Chelsea. So Newcastle are doing great, but let's not paint a narrative that they've not spent any money yet. Like, they have spent money. It's a lie to say they haven't. United win, Arsenal and Liverpool lose. Happy days is what Andre says here. There's a super chat that says Rashford is about to be pushing 30. What do you mean he's about to be pushing 30? He's just turned 25. He's just turned 25. He's a grown man now. Please stop acting like he's a star boy. So let me just let you know, because you're obviously not understanding the slang. Star boy doesn't mean young. Star boy as a piece of slang is like, I want to make sure I word this in the right way. I'm going to read this to you. It's a term used to describe a millionaire celebrity who gloats about their money, passion, or side girls. It's then been colloquialized to turn around, and it's been colloquialized. Say you're a guy that's a bit of a player, you get a lot of women. You could be 40, you're a star boy. Say you're a man who's Andrew Tate. Everyone was calling him a star boy. You know, women, money, doing these things. Drake is sometimes called a star boy. Star boy doesn't mean young. Star boy is a player, a wealthy baller who's rated, who's ripping up trees and doing his thing. So star boy doesn't mean young. I just say, there's one thing I notice with people, and there's someone who comes on the terrace and does this all the time. It can mean very famous. It can be a leading member of a group. Do you know what I mean? Like Robbie Williams, is the star boy of Take That, even though they're nearly 50. That's the point, right? But a lot of people use slang and they don't understand what the word means, and then they get annoyed when people use it out of term, or they get the words wrong. Just like Manum. Do you remember when Gal came on and referred to me and the Phantom? No, it's not your slang. Use Canadian slang. Stop taking Jamaican slang that, for me, is, again, been colloquialized in the southeast of England. I even hear, listen, I know somebody from Newcastle that when they tweet with a top boy accent. It's like, what are you doing? You're from Newcastle. You say YA man. You don't say Yana. You don't say Yana in Newcastle. You don't do it. You don't do it. Same, you're from New York. You know what I mean? You don't say blood. You don't say bro. You know what I mean? You don't say fam. You don't.
No.
You say jabroni or something along those. I don't know what you say. Do you
You
know
say
what I mean?
dude and all that stuff.
Yeah, hey dude. Do you know what I mean? Get it right. Rashford is 25. How is that pushing 30? Yeah, look, 28, 29 is pushing 30. That's 3 years away, bro. It's crazy. Terry sponsored the Urban Dictionary, but I knew what it meant already. I just wanted to read it right. Like, there's so many people do, they get slang wrong, and they don't. It's like people don't know banter. Like, someone will, like you. I can't say to you today, take the L, because you didn't give it the big one before the game, and you're accepting the defeat. Therefore, going take the L, bruv. It only works when someone is denying the defeat. Do you know what I'm saying? So
the only way if someone was bigging it up before and going, it's not going to happen, this, that, or if afterwards they're going, no, it was a disgrace, it shouldn't have happened, this, that. No, I accepted we're crap. I accepted Wolves were going to beat us today. And I'm accepting that Sean Dyche is going to rock up to Anfield next Monday night. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Idrissa Gana Gay, Neil Maupay, all them lot, Seamus Coleman, all them lot, they're going to rock up and it'll be a 1-0 win for Everton. Play Connor Cody will bag in front of the cop end just to, rub it in even more, celebrate. I've accepted we're awful. There's no denying that.
And by the way, people, I know that slang's now used in many parts of the world, but when I grew up, I spent 6 months of the year in Canada and America competing. And the people I competed with and knew in Canada and knew in America were from so many different backgrounds I've forgotten. From different parts of South America, different parts of the Middle East, different parts of the Caribbean, different parts of Africa in terms of origin. And the slang that was used in the UK was not used by anybody in these places. What's done it is the internet's done it. It's the same as, so we used to notice this a lot when we were kids. You go to America and Americans would dress so different from the English, and the English would dress so different from the Germans. Now, because of Instagram, TikTok, the internet, everything's a lot more similar. Like, everybody kind of looks the same now, where 10, 15 years ago, we spoke different. We had different slang. We didn't understand each other's kind of colloquialisms and kind of vernaculars and slang words. And we definitely look different. You could tell an American, because most of the American guys, even the cool ones, their trainers were often dead. Do you know what I mean? Mans were wearing chinos with trainers. They would have big phones, oversized shirts. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was so different. It's terrorist social studies. I'm just saying it was very different. As a United fan, I really like that Liverpool fan. We only have the best on the football terrace. Look, I want to say to everyone who's tuned in today, I want to say thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry to everybody else that is backstage. Now, there's loads of you. So thank you all very, very much. Tom, it's a pleasure to speak. Congratulations to Man United. Please make sure before you leave, you're hitting like and share buttons. Commiserations to Liverpool. And commiserations to Arsenal that also lost today. We're back live tomorrow morning. Fan channel review is going to be out. No doubt. I can't wait to watch some of that tonight. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.